Two massive games coming up in the second week of the finals in the Mornington Peninsula Nepean Football League. The second semi-final. Pines are the most informed team in the competition at the moment. They are flying. Sorrento, they haven't done a lot wrong. The last time these two sides played, Pines blew them out of the water early and then Sorrento stormed home. But Pines had enough of a lead to protect it and got home by 2 points. The winner will go through to the grand final. Sorrento, of course, have had the week off after being the reigning premiers. Pines in great form on the weekend, beating Mount Eliza by 42 points. Two men who know both sides really well, having plotted against them this year and have had a little bit of success against them in the past, particularly in the case of Pines. For this year, it's the first year that Bomb Beach have played against Sorrento on a regular basis. Their two coaches, Steve Hughes and Trent Dennis-Lane, have joined me to discuss the two semi-finals. Welcome, gentlemen. Steve, I'll start with you. Huge game. Pines have done so well. Have they surprised you how well they've performed over the last month or so?
No, they haven't. No, I've been coaching against Pines for 4 years now, and we've won one game, so we know their strengths pretty well. They tend to beat up on us a little bit, so not surprised. They've really carried some momentum into the finals. I think they're a really well balanced side these days. Probably a couple of years back, there's a fair bit of commentary around their bottom end, but I think they've really they've improved in that area. Got guys like Lockie Wallace through the midfield now. Just as important as your Paul Scanlons, and being able to release Potsy at halfback for Paddy, I'm sure is a bit of a win. So through the middle of the ground, they've got really experienced ruckman in Bo Hendry. He's not necessarily the most athletic, but he's got a few tricks, probably passed down by his old man. But obviously Scanlon through the middle with Wallace, and then down back, the ability to play Guy Hendry down back with Fisher as good key post for them, and then obviously forward their starter with Bongo and Aaron down there, and even McDermott, hitting the scoreboard quite a bit recently. So they're really well balanced throughout the entire ground. So not surprised at all. They've carried the momentum into the finals.
Well, he kicked 5.
Yep.
McDermott against Sorrento, so he was the star that day. So obviously Sorrento have got to come up with a way to try and stop him. But Trent, have they got enough outside run? Is that the only issue with Pines, that they don't have enough outside run? They've got, of course, those hard-nosed midfielders. Scanlon is, about 150 not out, still going beautifully. And Potts, of course, as Steve said, can play that role as well, plus others. But is the outside run an area you can exploit them?
They're just so strong at stoppage, so you probably got to take that away from them initially. They do have a lot of drive off half-back, especially when Potts sits off there. Boswell, one for me that we always look to target. Beautiful user of the ball, really aggressive off half-back. So I think they offer a lot of run and drive off their half-back, but it's dictated to whether or not they win that contested ball around the stoppages for me.
If Sorrento can do that, and they're capable of doing that, do you think they've got better runners on the outside, Steve? I mean, Mitch Hallahan's having an unbelievable year, and I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I believe he was unlucky with his AFL career. He should have played a lot more AFL football. He's good enough. But I think he went to the wrong club in the end, in Gold Coast, after not getting a game at Hawthorn, because he knows how to find a footy.
Yeah, well, it'll be a good contest, obviously with heavy bodies in there with Mitch, and obviously probably up against Chewy Scanlon, and so it'll be again probably a contested ball type scenario around the stoppages. I think probably for me, I think Sorrento kick the ball better than any other club. I think they've got really A-grade users of the footy. They hit their 45s really well. Their overlap run is terrific. I think James Hallahan has had a terrific year. Obviously, we watch a lot of footage. I know the first time that we came up against them, he torched us in the first half. We had to put a tag on him. But I think they kick the footy really well, and obviously Lee Poholke's going really well for him as a forward with Dawes out recently. I'm not sure whether he'll return or not, but I think it'll be a byproduct of who wins the inside footy on Saturday to see who gets the win. If you do allow the likes of Grant across half back for Sorrento to get on the end of it and use the footy, they do that really well. So it's just going to be dependent on who gets the game on their terms.
Fisher's a miserly defender, Trent. He counts the number of goals he has kicked against him, a bit like Glenn McGrath counted the number of wickets he got in international cricket, which was almost 1,000 in both one days and tests. Who does he get? If Dawes plays, does he get him, or does he get Corp, or does he get Paholke?
I reckon he probably sit on Paholke for me. Yeah, close to goal. Paholke usually spends. Very smart and crafty if you let him. But with Fisher's discipline, he'll just wear him like a glove all day. And I would probably, if I was a betting man, I reckon he'd be able to get the job done on him.
And have Sorrento got enough key defenders to stop the key tools at Pines? We know if Edwards doesn't get you, Bongetti might get you, and then McDermott might get you if those two are having quiet days.
Yeah, look, as I said before, the forwards will only get supply from the midfield, so I reckon probably the most important matchup on the ground will be the ruck battle. Bo Hendry is super underrated in our competition, I reckon. Obviously,
he's not tall, is he?
No, he's not, but he's very experienced, and if he's putting it down Scanlon's throat, doesn't really matter who you've got up forward. They'll get enough entries to kick a score, and so yeah, it will definitely be decided in the middle.
Who's it going to suit the ground better at Mornington? We know it's a small ground. It's been criticised as being a venue for the finals, but it's got a great amphitheatre feeling about it, Steve, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a really good ground to watch footy from. I was a little bit surprised that the finals ended up there, and probably it probably hurt Mount Eliza last week, to be honest. But in terms of Sorrento v Pines, I don't think there's necessarily a huge advantage to either side. They're both pretty good on the inside. I mean, you look at we've talked about Chewy Scanlon and their inside players, but also Mitch Hallahan, who's just a bull. Luke Tapscott's a bull. So they're really good on the inside, both sides. So I don't think it necessarily is going to sort of favour one or the other.
So who wins, Trent, and why? And by how much?
I'm going to tip Pines by 15 points, purely based on the fact that they're rolling at the moment. They finished off the season very well against us. Bongetti's back, had a run under his belt, so he'll be definitely ready to go and firing. So yeah, Pines for me by 15 points. I think again they might just jump them a little bit after Sorrento's had that week off.
Yeah, they've been jumping teams. That's been the key for them winning, Steve, hasn't it? Who do you think will win and why and by how much?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, you can't disrespect a side that's finished on top of the ladder and got the week's break. What happens a lot is...
They've done most things right.
Oh, of course they have, yeah. So, they've got a tremendous list, chock full of talent. Maybe Pines just based on the firepower they've got up forward, and potentially if Dawes doesn't play, that might enable Paddy to get Guy Hendry floating forward, which would be a real stretch in terms of those tools. I'll just probably go with Pines.
Thank you, gentlemen. Should be an outstanding game at Mornington on Saturday. The second semi-final, the winner through to the grand final. The loser will live to fight another day, and they'll take on the winner of the first semi-final. We'll be back in a second with both Trent and Steve to get their preview of the first semi-final, a cutthroat match, last chance saloon between Mount Eliza and Frankston YCW.